the planet's done very well without us for 99.99% of its history. It did very well. And then we've come along as this young upstart messing around with things and had started a chain reaction which is now coming to its head. And I don't think there's any blame for this. I think it's absolutely inevitable. As soon as we started using tools, we set off on this trajectory. We couldn't see it coming. We couldn't see any of this coming. Even back in the late 1800s, people were, well, one person was beginning to say, if we keep burning fossil fuels, we're going to end up producing climate change. And nobody even took him seriously, that it was even a possibility that that could happen. We just don't have the foresight to see what's going to happen with our technologies. We don't have the foresight to see what was going to happen when we started producing better healthcare after the Industrial Revolution with sanitation and things, that was going to lead to a global population explosion. We were concerned about just keeping people alive in our local communities, but that translated into a global population explosion. I say there's no blame in any of this. And it's not that we are a bad species or something that shouldn't have happened. I think what human beings are is something that happens from time to time in the evolution of a planet, that a intelligent, technological species emerges. And when it does, it sets off on this accelerating spiral, going faster and faster and faster into an unknown destiny. I mean, I don't think any of us know where it's actually going to lead or how it's actually going to play out. But on the way, in this very, very short blip of evolutionary time, a species emerges which has the potential to become so much in terms of, art, science, appreciation of beauty, its own awakening to its own nature. There's a spiritual area. There's so much that suddenly becomes possible for a species when it embarks upon this journey. But it doesn't have a finite time to do it. It has this short span in which to become this incredibly magnificent flowering of consciousness in evolution. And it brings with it, as a side effect, its effect upon the environment. But that, to me, doesn't make the species wrong or evil or unnecessary. It's something that happens. And the good side is that we have this amazing potential to become a fully conscious, aware, glorious being in that window. And I think the basic misconception that we all carry with ourselves is that the human future is a long-term future, that we have somehow, if we can get through this, we have thousands, millions of years ahead of us. We're all going to die sometime as a species. I mean, all species die sometime. They don't last forever, or they evolve into something else. But if you look at the implications of accelerating change, it suggests no, actually, the end of our line is coming much, much, much sooner. And that's the way it is. And I think there's something valuable about accepting this, in the same way that there's something often very valuable in accepting our own individual mortality. Most of us live as if we're never going to die. We know it for absolute certain. It's probably one of the few things we know for certain in life, that is, our bodies are going to die. And yet we all live as if it's not going to happen tomorrow or even 10, 20 years' time, most of us. And then suddenly something happens and we wake up. Our mortality faces us for one reason or another. And that can, in many cases, be a wake-up call for people. I know many people who, through one way or another, have actually faced death and found that the most incredible, liberating, growthful experience in their whole life, for which they are so totally grateful to have actually faced it in one way or another. And I think the same can apply to our own species, to actually face the fact that we actually may be coming to the end of this incredible evolutionary blossoming of consciousness on this planet, to let go of the fact that it should go on forever, but to realize we still have a period of time in which to allow that to fully blossom, to become what it truly can be. And that could be something so magnificent and beyond anything that we can probably imagine.